Hello and welcome back to Cynthia's Conversation. On today's topic, we'll be talking about domestic violence. I understand it's a very sensitive issue to a lot of people, and mostly a lot of people don't want to talk about it. This is not just domestic violence on women, it's on both. So discussing today, I have my beautiful friends. On my right hand, I have Amaka as usual. And then on my left, I have Yvonne. Welcome, guys.
Nice.
I know that this topic will be sensitive to a lot of people, and most people wouldn't want to talk about it, but these things are happening. Last week on the television, they said the rise in domestic violence have risen for the past 5 years in the UK, and mostly is on women. But on the other side, there are men too who are going through it, just that we women, and I would say we are good in seeking help than it is for men to talk about it because they feel embarrassed going to somebody to say, I've been abused by my wife. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
So, first I will take this to Yvonne. What do you say to this?
Domestic violence is domestic violence, and it can come in various forms. And I can definitely understand with our culture where men are the head of the house, you know, it's a big, should I say, shame for a man to come out to say my wife is abusing me. You know, it's an unspoken rule. And it's not even just because abuse is not physical. Like people say domestic violence, you quickly think of physical. Sometimes the psychological abuse is actually much more than the physical. Actually, beat me, that would be better. But the psychological, I mean, that's another level. So it's, you know, as a man, you know, you want to be seen as the man of the house, the macho and everything. And then all of a sudden, you see this man that can't do anything, you know, all smiling outside, but you can see that there is that fear, you know. And it's taking, it's a lot of courage for a man to come out and admit that, look, I'm being abused, you know. And unfortunately, because of that, a lot of men suffer. And it goes from that to sometimes almost killing themselves. So it's something that we need to talk about, you know, because if we have more men coming forward, they would be the focal point for our children coming up. Because our children now, with the obviously with the explosion of the internet now, you know, you've got, you know, that psychological stigma goes a long way in so many aspects. I mean, when we go into other topics like bullying and all, you can see how they all kind of interlink, you know. But I think people should come out and talk about it because it happens. And it's not about size. I mean, sometimes you will see a lady that is as tiny as a pint.
They're probably the worst.
Tiny as a pint, taking on a man that is like this huge giant, you know, like, you know. But it's not about size. It's just about control. If I'm able to pinpoint human nature, that I can control you over a certain level, be it intellect or whatever, I'm going there, you know. That's what happens, you know. So it is happening, and I plead for people to please come out, please talk to somebody, because if you don't, it takes over your whole body. It does.
Amaka, what's your intake on
Yeah, I agree with her, but like, let's go back. You said something about size and so. Who, big man or woman, which big man will say that a tiny woman? And it's not just in our culture, it happens
everywhere.
Okay, I'll give you an example. I've suffered domestic violence, and the unfortunate thing is, people think I'm very loud. So when they see someone that's very gregarious, you know, very out there, with somebody that's supposedly very quiet, they don't get it. Do you understand? You know, like the person that was doing this, very quiet, doesn't say anything. And you mentioned psychological abuse. That's the worst. Like you said, it's a terrible thing. I think that's even worse than the physical, because like it's easier for you, being male or female, to go and say, see, the person is abusing me, and then show marks.
We've got scars.
The hidden ones are probably the worst. I know people, there's a friend of mine who, and this is a guy, was a case of domestic violence. He's lost one eye. I'm sure I told about it, but he can't say anything because I be saying that to a woman. Do you understand? And like I said, it needs to be spoken about. I suppose, but it's easier. Unfortunately, the society we live in, people tend to believe women more because we're the ones that make the most noise. If a man and a woman are standing, unfortunately, that's the thing with this life. A man and a woman are standing and a woman is crying, yeah, that he hit me. Even though she was on her doing the beating. Who will you believe? And I was like, no, I didn't touch her. Do you understand where I'm coming from? So, it's very, very sad. It's very sad.
Like I said, the domestic violence thing is not just only on men or female. And I tell you, the worst of domestic violence is the emotional abuse.
Oh, that's the psychological
when
one.
People emotionally torture, that's the one that when you see some women literally, it's like their life has been sucked out of them. But these women cannot walk away from their marriage because my family will said, I'm the reason why my marriage failed.
Yep.
My friends will said, oh, you
did not try
hard enough.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But the point I'm saying is, there are so motherless children today because their mom has been killed because of domestic violence.
Yep.
There are men today that have pushed to the breaking point of literally committing suicide because of domestic violence. But I say this to people, when a relationship gets to a point that it has to be physical, then it's time to move on.
Not even physical, like you said.
Yes, but when the relationship, because a relationship is supposed to be something that will, it's that you will be comfortable in it.
Thank you.
You know what I mean?
Okay. Let me come in here. I like what you said. I'm going to actually go against what you've just said now, in the sense that people have relationships for different reasons, which we agree on. With what you just said about people, let's say you're being emotionally blackmailed, and so women stay in because maybe family, children. Also, the person who is the abuser, because the person who is the abuser is abusing you at the same time assuring you that things are okay. So for example, I will beat you, okay, or I will emotionally do something to you, and at the same time I'm telling you, oh, I'm sorry, I will never do it again. And because of the love you have for the person, you still in your as much as you want to leave, but you have in that heart of hearts that, oh my God, okay, he's going to change. No. A lot of people that do domestic violence. No. It takes a lot of effort before that person now says, I'm not listening to that anymore, I'm going to leave. A good example, which is funny that we're talking about, is what is happening in with our program. We have a program, EastEnders. You see that's been going on for a long time. The girl wants to leave, but the guy keeps promising her, oh, I will never do it again. And because they've moved places up to the fact that they now moved near the parents, because he promised her he will not do it. The last episode they showed, he was about to hit her. He already hit her in the tummy. He hit her he was about to hit her. He said, I'm pregnant. Suddenly, you could see the light bulb switch. Boom. Oh, that's what I've been praying for. I want a child. Oh, I'm not touching you again. All of that. So, it's like the girl already is in that situation. She wants to tell her parents, but she doesn't know what to do.
Exactly, that's what...
I know, but...
Let me stop you there, sorry.
Yeah.
From what Cynthia is saying, it's not that you should talk about it. Let her, if she has spoken to her parents...
No, we're saying the same thing.
But she's not even speaking about it to anyone else.
It's hard to talk about...
I know it's hard.
I know what you mean, because
it's
the outside world is a perfect couple.
Yes.
He treats her well.
So she's afraid of what people say.
But I said this. Let's take... That is a fiction, Let's take it out of fiction. If I'm in a relationship and I get emotionally, physically, and drained, I am normally when I'm not happy, everyone around me knows.
Tell me about it.
When something is not right, I will not keep quiet. That's me. But that's me as a person. Don't necessarily mean everyone is going to be like me. But what I'm trying to say is this: it's better you are alive to take care of your children than dead and make your children orphans. Just because you want to keep that unity called marriage. It's both ways.
Or relationship.
And even women, even men
Yeah.
as well. Don't let the shame of I can't tell people that I've been abused by my wife stop you from having your life. Because I said to people, every single day that passes by unhappy is a waste day, because you will never get it back.
Do you know the biggest culprit to that? Culture. Comes right back down to culture. Because I've known of cases, and this is real life stories, where women finally found the courage to say, I'm leaving. And they go home.
And the parents should
And the parents say, what? And bundle her
back.
and take her back. If not the parents, friends, family, that has been done. And it happens a lot at home. You can't do that. You're married. No, but
So they call culture,
no,
religion.
that's what I'm saying. That is
do you understand?
and in our society, that's huge. At least here, you have there's a helpline. We don't.
How many people
helpline?
use it?
No, people do. But what I'm saying is, there's a helpline. People can talk anonymous. They can work with you on the background. But there's only so much they can do.
But
You have to come out.
That's the thing.
But that gives you the courage, because at least you can talk. Do you know the burden of not talking?
Yeah.
Let me tell you, right? Let
That's
me tell
it.
you. Sorry. It's, like I keep saying, it's easier said than done.
Yeah.
Even if you know there's a helpline. Like you said 5 minutes before, the person will beg you, I am sorry, I'll change. I will. Because this has happened in real life. I know people that they physically had to go and drag.
Yeah.
That the police told them that is your dead body
Yeah.
that we're going to come and carry.
Yeah.
And this is in this country. It's been somebody that's been domestic it's a mental thing.
It's
It's
a
actually,
mental
so
thing.
you have
Because the thing
it's
is-
easier said
the
than
thing
done.
is-
Because
And it has to come from you. That's even the funny
And the
thing.
thing-
because you're
It has
so
to come
scared.
from
Because you
you.
can't tell the man.
And the things that I say is this, is whether it's Africa or here.
That's what I'm
I
saying.
say, most women here, sometimes if you talk about it might even help your marriage, because and think somebody outside that will make the man realize
Like
that,
that.
this is not right.
Right.
He might wants to be part of that healing process or counseling process.
He has
That
to
will-
agree though. That's all of them.
That's
do.
what I'm saying.
That's if they agree that what they're doing is wrong.
You know, but
That's
that's
the thing.
listen. That's what I'm saying. That he has to be. Maybe if the woman, talk to someone and the person say, okay, let's have a meeting with your husband, or let's have a meeting with your wife and say, look, this thing that maybe she doesn't think she's doing anything wrong, but she just feel, I have the upper hand and I can say this, or he thinks I have the upper hand, I can
Wait,
say this,
yeah.
yeah. And then, but maybe if there is a mediator in between.
Let me tell you the thing about domestic violence. If you've been in it, the person that's receiving it
Doesn't
will too
think.
scared. No. Knows that there's someone to go and talk to. If I tell this mediator, the mediator will come to the house and the man or the woman, whoever it is that's doing the domestic violence, will listen. You'll be scared that after the person has walked out and locked the door,
Then
they'll deal with you.
That's it.
See, that's the thing about
That's the problem.
it's such a sensitive,
That's the
issue.
problem,
It-
because
it is so difficult.
You know you want to talk, but the repercussions,
scared,
the
exactly.
repercussions of talking.
It's you and that person
Just
that's
like
in the house.
just like how I said, when you go and you pack your things to your parents, and then your parents bring you back.
You'll be so.
Then your parents now leave. That man is big. That's your dead.
Your dead body.
Because so you managed to leave me to your parents. Are you mad? Do you understand? So it's
Yep.
like, even if I tell,
The social
it's
worker.
still going to
somebody.
come back, and then the fact that your husband now knows that you.
Or your wife.
This
know,
is
it-
what
it's
I mean
terrible.
by
It's hard.
This is what I mean
It
by
is
hard.
we have to talk. I always said we need to train our children. Probably I don't know about you guys, but my parents, there are certain things you couldn't discuss
Yeah.
in front of. Even now, there are certain things you couldn't discuss in front of
your
parents.
children, yeah.
But I have daughters now, and I tell them what is acceptable and what is
Yeah.
not.
And son.
And son, oh
And son.
yes, and my
And son.
I know that my son will never lay his hand on a woman. That for sure. But I tell my girls as well.
But your son should also not let anyone lay their hands on him.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, there was
Oh,
one.
but not
There
to
was
lay
one
hands on-
incident that happened one time that a girl. I went absolutely ballistic. I went as far as look for her on the social media, and I sent her a huge paragraph, and I said, "Bitch, if you ever lay your hand on my son again, I'm coming for your mother." because she didn't tell you or teach you
Yeah.
what manner.
Man.
Because if it was my son who did that to her,
Yeah.
he will be in jail, and that thing will be on his record all his life. You know, it doesn't matter whether I have first class in university or not.
Yeah.
But every single time that the father, he went to police station and he was cautioned. So and that's me. And I if my son will, I know him up to that point to say he will never lay his hand. And same thing I tell whoever I'm going out with. I can put up with your bullshit. But if there is one thing that I will not accept from anyone, is an abuse, whether it's verbal, physically, emotionally, financially. Yeah, I would say I was dumb, you know, but now no more. But those are the things I have. Well, I've been in a relationship that I think, you know, emotionally draining.
So because you've come out of, so it's easier for you to talk about.
And yes, now because at that time I didn't look at it as if it was an emotional abuse, you know. Oh, I'm so disappointed. I didn't, you of all people.
And you start begging.
Yes, now.
Sorry, now.
You know,
It's
you of all people. How could you? But even though that you know deep down in your heart that I didn't wrong this person.
Yeah.
It was the other way around. Yeah, but I know that I was wrong. But you did this, you did that, you did. But now I say, hey.
Hey, well.
How? Hold on. Hey, don't put this on me.
Yeah.
Because the thing with emotional abuse is they like to use the reverse psychology.
Yes.
I beat you because you did
It's not
this.
even beat, I'm doing it for your own good.
Yes, or I have to tell you this because nobody else will.
Remember
tell
the
you.
one that told me they thought, you know, I was poly. Remember that poly. You know, all these months I was listening to this person moan about their own wahala. They didn't beat me. All I did was call them, cry, wonder that I'm tired, you know, they don't know what's wrong with me. I think the person called me 2 days later and I was emotionally draining him. If I was younger, at first I looked at the phone, I thought, really?
I did.
Those days I would have begged you, okay, sorry now, okay, I'm sorry I told you. Eh? I'm emotionally draining you. No. That's because I told her I was falling.
Yeah,
You know, so
like I
tough.
said,
It's
and
a very
I would
tough
say
thing.
to people,
It's tough.
before, if you think you are doing your children a favor in staying in that relationship, the question you should ask yourself is, what are you teaching your children?
Yeah.
Because what happened is, this abuse relationship didn't start from the man or the woman. It may have come from their family.
Yeah.
Because, okay, maybe the man saw his father, you know, using his mom as a punching bag. Or the wife.
And didn't like it, but for one strange reason, he's replicating.
I
Exactly.
think that's the norm. That's how it should be.
That's it, because in his brain, that's the norm. Even though he knows it's not the right thing to do.
Yeah.
A lot of people, and they say it, I mean, you've got statistics and studies that say people who come, like, that's why they say people who have, like, maybe come from emotionally abused.
Yeah.
Literally end up being the abuser.
Yeah.
You know, and unconsciously in their head, they're like, never, I will never do it. But then when they get married, suddenly the traits start running in.
Yeah.
And they start being their father
Father
or
or
their
mom.
mother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it just comes. So as much as they're out there actually saying the words, I don't like abuse, I would never abuse my wife. But hello, you go home and you are doing exactly that
and
thing.
it's not their fault because
It's not their fault because it's in there. It's been imprinted in you
somehow.
You know, and just like how culture, you grow in culture and culture becomes part of you.
Yeah.
That's how that abuse has become part of you. You know.
Yeah.
So it's
It's a tough one.
It's a tough one.
It's sad.
But I think now with media, with social media and everything, and now there are places you can talk. Even, I mean, with social media, now everyone hides behind social media. So you can talk about it without actually giving your name. Then people talk to you. People can tell you what to do. Then you will now maybe from there draw the courage to now come out and say.
And don't be scared.
And don't be scared.
It's tough.
Yeah.
It's
So,
easier said than
Not be
done.
scared. You know.
No, it's a very sensitive topic and it's easier said than done.
Yeah.
I've come out of it the other end, but you know, speak about it if you can. If you can. But you know.
Well, I would say now with social media should be your tool. You can create an avatar, call yourself another name. You can be princess even if you're a prince. and talk about it. No, really.
True.
Talk about it.
Advice.
Talk, give your story without necessarily putting your name on it, and then people will tell you what to do, what they've done. Draw from that experience and then use that as your
Positive
courage.
ones, because some people are going to
Positive
insult
courage.
you,
I mean,
though.
obviously, filter it, but take that courage and then seek help. There is help out if you go and seek it.
You know, I would say personally, if you are in a situation of whether it's emotional, physically, financial, whatever abuse you are, the things that you need to think about is yourself as a person. You have to be safe. You need to be alive to look after your kids, and most importantly, talk about it. Talk to someone that you think you can seek an advice from. You know, some people give you different advice. Pick your own and your own conclusion. But most importantly, just talk about it. Share your story with other people and listen to
Not
advice.
fast,
Well,
Oh, I forgot one. Be selfish.
yeah.
Be self. This is now the time to
Yeah,
be
be
selfish.
selfish. And
Yes,
if you
be
think,
selfish.
and if you think because of the children you cannot and all that, please know that when you are gone, someone else is coming to take your position and treat those children the way you don't want them to be treated. Until next time, guys, thanks for listening and bye.
Bye bye.